Lesson 1 is about ratios and rates. A ratio is comparing one quantity to another. So if we look at the table for number 1, if we look at the table, to do number 1, it says we need to compare music programs to art programs. There are 3 music programs and there are 10 art programs. So our ratio would be 3 to 10. And you may write that ratio one of 3 ways. You may write it with the word to, you may write it with a colon, 3 to 10, or you may write it in fraction form, 3 to 10. Any one of those 3 forms is okay. You do not have to write all 3 forms. For number 3, it's entire collection to educational games. Well, you need to add up all of the numbers of games in all of the categories to give you a total of 41. There are 16 educational games, so it would be 41 to 16. And again, you may write it in any one of these 3 ways. You do not have to write all 3. Order is very important in ratios, so since entire collection was first, that number has to go first even though it's larger than the number of educational games. There's no such thing as an improper ratio. Number 4 wants us to write 3 equivalent ratios to compare the number of red hearts in the picture to the total number of hearts. Again, we have to pay attention to order. And they're first asking us to list the number of red hearts, which is 2, to the number of total hearts, which if we count them all up, that would be 9. Writing equivalent ratios is like writing equivalent fractions. You can either use multiplication or division to get you an equivalent ratio. Since I can't divide 2 and 9 by anything, I'm going to multiply them both by the same number. So I'll multiply 2 times 2 is 4, 9 times 2 is 18. So 4 to 18 is an equivalent ratio to 2 to 9. I'll multiply 2 and 9 both by 3, and 9 times 3 would give me 27. So 6 to 27 is another equivalent ratio. There are more than just these 3 possible ratios that could be used. Number 5, it gives us the price of an 8-ounce bag of sunflower seeds and a 4-ounce bag of sunflower seeds, and they're asking us which is the better deal. Well, we're told that the 8-ounce bag cost $1.68. In order to find the better deal, we need to find the cost per ounce for that bag of sunflower seeds. To do that, we would have to divide 8 into $1.68 to get 21 cents per ounce for the 8-ounce bag. Now the 4-ounce bag sells for 88 cents. So to find out its cost per ounce, we would have to divide 4 into 88 cents. And that would give us 22 cents per ounce. Since the 8-ounce bag cost 21 cents an ounce, that's 1 cent less than the 4-ounce bag. So our better deal and our answer for number 5 would be the 8-ounce bag. Again, you're looking for the one that's cheaper per unit. In lesson 2, we're learning about proportions. Proportions are equal ratios. So number 1, where they want us to write a proportion for the model, we have to work left to right and put the pencils first. There are 6 pencils to 3 erasers. Now from here, I can use either multiplication or division to get a ratio that is equivalent to 6 to 3. Since I can divide them both by 3, I'll go ahead and divide, and my proportion would be 6 to 3 equals 2 to 1. You could have used multiplication. You could have multiplied 6 and 3 both by the same number. For example, if you wanted to multiply them both by 2 and get the proportion 6 to 3 equals 12 to 6, that would be acceptable as well. Now we're going to learn how to solve proportions by cross-multiplying. To cross-multiply, we'll always start with the variable and do as it says. We'll multiply across, crisscross. N times 9 is 9n. Then we'll cross the other way and multiply. 12 times 3 is 36. This sets up an equation that we simply have to solve to get the value of n. We divide both sides by 9. 9 into 36 is 4. For number 15, again we start where the variable is and cross-multiply. P times 6 is 6p. Cross the other way, 3 times 8 is 24. Now to solve the equation, we would divide both sides by 6, and P would equal 4 once again. We're also going to use proportions to help us solve word problems like number 5. The question's asking how much will her mother donate? Well, the problem tells us that her mother is going to pledge 75 cents for every half a mile that Ursula bikes. And if she bikes 17.5 miles, we need to figure out how much money her mom would owe. So here our ratio would compare the amount of money mom has to donate to the miles that Ursula bikes. We're told mom will give 75 cents for every 5/10 of a mile, and we're being asked how much will mom have to donate if she bikes 17 5/10 miles. Over here on the left, putting what your ratio is comparing will help you keep all of your numbers in line. The top row should be all the money amounts, the bottom row should be the mileage. Make sure each ratio compares the appropriate units. Here it's 75 cents for every half a mile because that's what mom will donate. And on this side, we don't know how much money mom's going to donate for her riding 17 5/10 miles. So to solve the proportion, we cross multiply. M times 5/10 is 5/10 M. And then we have to cross and multiply 75 cents times 17 5/10, which will give us 13 125 thousandths. Then we would divide both sides by 5/10, and it would come out to be $26.25 that mom would have to pay. We will also use proportions in lesson 3 to convert from one customary unit to another. In number 1, we're being told that Linda cut off 1 5/10 feet of hair to donate to an organization to make wigs. And the question's asking how many inches of hair did she cut off. First thing we need to figure out is what 2 units are we converting. We're converting feet to inches, so we'll set up our ratio comparing feet to inches. This first ratio will come either from the chart on page 402, or hopefully in a case like this one, you know how many inches are in a foot. There are 12 inches in 1 foot, so that fills in our first ratio, the proportion. And the problem gives us our other information. It tells us she cut off 1 5/10 feet of hair, so we have to make sure we put the 1 5/10 up here with the feet. Our variable would fill in for the number of inches. N times 1 would simply be N, and 12 times 1 5/10 would be 18, so that means she would donate 18 inches of hair. Number 4 is telling us that Kai is going to spend 105 days in Nepal, and they want us to convert that to weeks. So we're converting days to weeks. We know that there are 7 days in 1 week, and the problem is telling us that he's spending 105 days, so that has to go on top with the days, and we're being asked to tell the number of weeks. So we cross multiply. W times 7 is 7W. 105 times 1 is 105. We divide both sides by 7, and W would equal 15 weeks. Number 6 is the same type of problem, except it's not in the context of a word problem. It's cups to fluid ounces that's being converted. We have to know that 1 cup is 8 fluid ounces. The problem is giving us 72 fluid ounces and asking us how many cups that would be. So we cross multiply. 8 times C is 8C. 1 times 72 is 72. We divide both sides by 8, and C would equal 9 cups. For number 12, it's a comparing problem. We have 18 feet being compared with 220 inches. Now we have 2 choices. We can either convert the feet to inches or the inches to feet so that we can see which one's greater. I'm going to choose converting feet to inches. I'm going to take the 18 feet and convert that to inches. 1 foot equals 12 inches. That's where this ratio came from. So we cross multiply. That equals 216. So it would be 216 inches. So 18 feet equals 216 inches. So now we can compare inches to inches. 216 inches is less than 220 inches.